Very good, Tyler. Well done.
When I started performing, something happened for me. It feels like a white light experience. My name is Tyler Carson, and I'm a solo violin player. When you think solo violin, you go classical, Bach. And yeah, I started with all of that, but it wasn't until I lost my voice that I started to think of the violin in a whole new way. I began playing the violin when I was 5 years old, and my sister was 3. I started with classical music. My teacher was concerned that I might get bored with an hour of practice every day. She said, "Tyler, you're a very talented boy, but you are very lazy." She sent me to fiddle lessons, which was really amazing because she couldn't tolerate it, as many classical musicians feel.
Where is the tip?
Here's the tip.
Where is the screw?
Here is the screw.
My parents made sure that we practiced almost daily, even if it was only 10 or 15 minutes or a half hour. Eventually, over childhood, it started to open up a personal connection with music. Growing up, I ended up performing for money. That was my day job. I ended up touring around the world with my sister. I had been featured on the Jerry Lewis Telethon.
Tyler and Kendall Carson. Which one of you is the better fiddle player, would you say?
Oh, well, I am.
You are?
Really? Fiddle contest.
When I was 20, my sister got a record deal.
A band destined for greatness. Kendall, Stephanie Miranda, Bellstar.
And we were supposedly in this together. And she ended up touring around the world. The funny part is that sometimes starting over is really what you need. My name is Tyler Carson. I'll be playing music for you tonight. Glad you made it out. I was always kind of on the edge of this record deal, but I wasn't breaking through somehow, and it seemed like, oh, of course, it's because I'm a violin player. Like, what do violin players do? So I started singing. It's a mudslinging, no thinking, 4x fun, ripping through the mountains and when the day's done. I was starting to get feedback that my voice was too pure. I was studying really intensively, and I started feeling this bit of a blip in my vocal tone, and my teacher couldn't hear it, but I noticed it. It got worse and worse to the point that when I was trying to sing, there was a lot of tension, and ironically, at that point, I started having producers going, "You got a really cool voice, man. It's like you got like built-in compression. It's so..." I'm going, all right, this is gonna work. And I start having more and more tension in my voice. Eventually, I start noticing it when I'm speaking. In particular, when I answer the phone, I say, "Hello?" I can do much better than that. I wouldn't interact in bars in the same way. I wouldn't go out. I couldn't meet girls in the same way because I'd be like, everybody was like, "God, what's wrong with you?" And I don't blame them because when I would talk, my nervous system would have like this. Made people uncomfortable around me because it felt like I was going to explode because that's kind of what it looked like. I went to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. He scoped my voice, and that means put a metal rod in my mouth and you feel like you're gonna choke and they videotape your vocal cords. Now speak naturally. He said I had something they call spasmodic dysphonia. and they don't know what it is. Exactly, they don't know what causes it. The recommendation was that I get Botox every 6 weeks in my throat. And what Botox does is it kills the nerve endings of the area that it's injected to. Because what happens in spasmodic dysphonia is that it's a spasm in the muscles. It's getting too much signal from the brain. And so it basically decreases the voltage that actually reaches the muscles. I thought I might as well give it a try, and it actually worked pretty good. For me, I was really fortunate. You wouldn't have known I had a voice issue. The difficulty was that I couldn't sing with it, and if I tried to make any volume, it was like puberty worse than I ever had it. It would just, because there was no muscle strength in the voice, so as soon as you blew air through it, just go poof and blow out. I had a couple of things in my life happen, big things, long-term relationship changed. I just recorded an album that I poured everything into while at the same time doing too many things, and my voice wasn't working. I wasn't going to be able to tour it, and it just came slam. I had basically what amounts to a nervous breakdown. You know, I was seeing my doctor, and the doctor says, "All right, did it feel like the lid of the kettle just blew off?" She said, "Yeah, that's called a panic attack, and you'll probably be fine." It just comes up. And well, it came up again and again and again and again. Couldn't even leave the house for more than a short period of time because it was just too overwhelming. At that point, I really felt like I'd failed, because where am I now? I was on TV 3 years ago, I was in Nashville last month, and now I'm back to square one. Like, you should be able to get up in the morning and go for a walk, and no, if you want to get up and go for a walk, you have to get up, possibly go through feeling like you're gonna die, feeling like you're gonna have a heart attack, go through all these things, and then you might be able to go for a walk. Growing up in my family, anxiety was a word that I was kind of aware of, but it wasn't like an expression of something that I experienced once in a while. And I finally met a counselor who said, "Would you like to do something about the anxiety?" There's an idea. You mean, I'm not broken, I'm just going through like this emotion, just like anything else. And her approach was largely based in mindfulness. Basis is simply that you become aware of your thoughts. You sit quietly and you breathe a little bit, and you try to let your awareness rest on your breath. But our mind and our brain is designed to come up with thoughts. They're a response to the nervous system activity in our body. My voice has been working better today than it has in a long time. Hypnotherapy, to me, is a tool, a specific tool. You don't need to use it, and you shouldn't use it for every little issue that you have, because what you want to do with hypnotherapy is clear root issues to the point that you can live your life fully. I ended up exploring music in a way that I never expected, because when I was meditating and when my teacher said, you know, you can convey that healing energy through your music, I was the biggest skeptic in my class. I would always prove it to me, which probably hindered my progress a little bit, but I was willing to take the extra time in order to be pretty clear and know that I wasn't just tricking myself. I worked with several different voice coaches. I was seeking voice coaching because it seemed like my voice should be able to return to me. And that was their opinion as well, because once in a while my voice would work and then it would go back to being tight. And this is a common theme. I would work with a different voice coach and my voice would get better, and then it would go revert. And I've learned from talking with other people with voice disorders that that's actually quite common. You try different things, hopefully it gets a little better, and half the time it just ends up back where it started. The voice is something very intimate to ourselves. And in my life, art is healing. Art, music, is the expression of the self. It's the expression of that silent place that communicates with the silent place inside of everyone. When I lost my voice, there was only really one place for me to turn as an artist, and that was back to my violin. The violin that had carried me so far, and then I thought I'd have no career. Well, it was better than anything else I could think of. We were invited to travel to India. I ended up in a scholar's house, they called it. It was a dormitory, basically. The mattress was old and springy, and there were mosquitoes, and you were sweating. There wasn't AC, there was no windows. Suffice to say, I was out of my comfort zone, out of my element, which was probably the most important thing. Before I came to India, I had found about 8 bars of music that I'd noticed, I kind of like this. This is interesting. I was strumming my violin, which was different than anything I'd done before. And at one moment, I remember in this sweaty mosquito room, I thought, well, what the heck, I'll just go a little farther. That's interesting because I had been stopping myself because I wasn't sure it was going to be good. But there was nobody judging me. I wasn't performing. Yet there was this judgment inside of myself that I didn't realize was always there. It was always talking to me. And that is key because that is the thing that is running through all of us. But in that moment, I thought, what the heck? And I went a little farther. And it worked and then it didn't work. It worked and it didn't work. It was kind of like meditation. I was aware of my thoughts, I wasn't. I was aware, I wasn't. I was asked by the locals to give a concert. And they didn't want to hear a fiddle concert. In India, music is about the soul. It's about who you are. It's expressing the things that we can't talk about. And so I said yes, even though I had no idea whether or not I was going to be able to do it. And so for about 3 weeks, I started working on this. What I found from that moment in my practice room was, okay, it's about my presence of mind. It's my state of mind. Can I drop into this place and create this music that somehow comes alive? I'd learned that the moment was everything. I had to play from a deep place, and then these simple notes came to life. By that point, I'd started calling it living music, because that was the difference. If I played it from this place, it would lift you, as opposed to if I played it from route. If I played it from my thinking mind, oh, I know this tune, I'll play the tune. It was boring, it's just a solo violin. Bring some drums in, bring a guitar. Okay, now we can dance. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to come from this place. I did the concert, and for the first 10 minutes, I had my eyes glued shut because I wasn't sure if people were still going to be in the audience. But they were instead very kind of riveted. And when I was finished, I had really good feedback. And when I came home, I thought, geez, okay, it worked in India, but is it going to work here? And so then I started playing in nightclubs. And at this point, I'm pretty comfortable with being out there. And so I would just close my eyes and I would go into my quiet place. I would just play. And interestingly, at that point, I wasn't worried about the reaction of people. And the response was really good.
Thank you very much.
That was a perfect place for me to come in with this new reinventing, because I was truly reinventing myself. At that point, I was playing all original music. It wasn't anything like I'd heard before. I was asking the audience to come on the same journey that I'd been on, because everyone has gone through in some way a struggle. That was what I was talking about. I would play a piece and I would tell my story. You have to be there. You have to be in the moment. Suddenly a bar will go silent and everyone will be just present with me. They become part of the music and I feel it. I mean, it's really clear. If I'm not on, it's dead and it's boring and people are distracted. When I'm on, people come in, and when they come in, the music goes farther and it expands. So this is living music. This is what it is to be in the present moment. Unfortunately, in that process, I met someone when I was playing a pub. Somebody says to me, "Hey man, what's up with your voice? Do you have spasmodic dysphonia?" Sorry, excuse me, what? He said, no. A friend of mine's a drummer, and he had, they call it dystonia. And I went, wait a second. The doctor said, we don't know what spasmodic dysphonia is, but it's related to dystonia, and it probably has a genetic connection. But he found this doctor in Spain that's really helped him. You should check him out. So I looked up this doctor in Spain. The brain actually becomes hypersensitive to what it's doing. It sends too many neurons to this area. You're basically overusing the frontal cortex. It's trying to tell you how to talk. I invite anyone to try to tell themselves how to talk. Can you explain what's happening? No, because it's subconscious, it's this other thing. Neuroplasticity gone haywire is basically what dystonia is. And effectively, we train it into our body. And so, just by using radical logic, maybe we can train it out of our body. I'm so grateful that what I ended up finding was this place in my music. In the last year, I started to get my voice back.
We haven't done anything like this in quite some time, so fingers crossed, we'll see how this goes. But I grew up absolutely idolizing this guy and trying to emulate his playing, and hopefully he doesn't show me up to that here. So please welcome Tyler Carson.
As you can imagine, it's difficult to find a case for this. Basically, this instrument is like a resonator guitar, except a resonator violin. It has a little disc that is vibrated by a rod that comes down from the bridge, because the bridge rocks back and forth, and it comes through the horn. It's kind of crazy. It's steampunk before there was steampunk. But the cool thing about this is it has a different sound. This is a regular violin. Sounds like a violin. This is a strobe violin. They use these to record into gramophones. That's why it sounds a bit like an old-fashioned violin recording. Sounds a little different, right?